that he had put her head on a shelf and screamed at it for an hour, threw darts at it, and ultimately smashed her face in. He also cut her tongue out and her larynx and put them in a garbage disposal.
Tell me in a sentence who you are.
I'm nobody. I'm a bum. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine. And a straight razor if you get too close to me.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think your murder made you?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
Just after sunrise, in a quiet neighborhood in Clear Lake, Texas, a mother walked down a narrow hallway and turned on the bathtub faucet. The water filled slowly, rising inch by inch, the sound echoing off tile and porcelain. Her 5 children were awake, moving through the house in that soft, sleepy way kids do on summer mornings. Nothing about the scene looked unusual. Nothing hinted at the storm inside her head. For years, Andrea Yates had been slipping, quietly, invisibly, into a darkness no one around her fully understood. A darkness shaped by postpartum psychosis, by relentless pressure to be the perfect mother, by a belief system that demanded obedience and sacrifice, and by medical warnings that were heard but never truly followed. On June 20th, 2001, that darkness finally took over. And in the span of an hour, inside a modest brick home on Beachcomber Lane, 5 young lives were lost. And a nation was forced to confront a question it still struggles with today. What happens when a mother's mind breaks and no one stops it in time? This is the story of Andrea Yates and her life, her unraveling, and the tragedy and change of how we understand maternal mental illness forever.
Yo, yo, yo.
Sorry to interrupt your coffee.
I went to take a sip of the coffee. Sorry, we are a few minutes behind schedule today because I had to finish making my cup of coffee. Coffee's always important. Howdy, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Cake Maker. Love the new opening. Hi, everyone. Hello, Cake Maker. David. Howdy, guys. Howdy to you, David.
Howdy, howdy.
We do appreciate everyone being here on this fantastic Mother's Day weekend. That's right. So we'd like to make a shout out to all the mothers out there this weekend. Happy Mother's Day from the Murder Podcast Show.
Fun fact, different countries celebrate Mother's Day different days. So happy Mother's Day to those who celebrate now, and then down the road, I know Australia celebrates a different day. Happy Mother's Day to you guys too.
Yes, Australia. Now that they seem to be consecutively for 2 weeks now staying up there for some of our higher ratings.
Yeah.
Which is great. Between the United States and Australia, they are the 2 highest for listening to our show. So we do appreciate it. We appreciate everybody all over the United States and other countries that do listen to us. Whether you listen on the streaming platforms or you tune in live here on YouTube, we do appreciate your support. I have to get over here to the sponsors because, per usual, I swear, I'm never ready. I'm not ready. And actually, I'm behind here.
You want to do Class and Jackie's 1 Minute of Murder?
I am your host, and there goes the camera, and I don't know where it's going. Give me 1 second here. Apparently, the camera is wanting to go to the girl in the corner.
Hey, maybe she's a mother too.
That is true. That is true.
She's controlling everything.
But no, I am your host, Tim, also known as I am the architect. That's right. I am the architect. There's the camera. We brought it back. And alongside of me is my amazing co-host.
Criminology, Chris.
Yes.
My co-host, Criminology Chris. And alongside of him is the director of all of our social media platforms. That's right. Classroom Jackie.
What's up, guys?
So welcome. Our sponsor tonight, per usual, is Crafty Corner by Laura. She makes a wide selection of handmade crochet plushies, both cute, creepy, animals, pop culture, fantasy, anime, and horror. They also specialize in custom orders like the Voodoo doll that has been out front of my screen there for a few weeks now. You can follow them on Instagram at the.crafty.corner.bylaura. That's right, 3 dots, figure out where they go. Don't contact me to find out.
Reach out to me.
Anyways, now we're going to jump over for Classroom Jackie's 1 Minute of Murder.
What about Dubby and Dochi?
Oh, we no longer really promote them.
Okay,
We haven't
cool.
in a while. I mean, they're great products. We still get sponsored, but you know, everybody knows now. Dubby, you want something that's going to kick you in the ass and make you feel like a bull getting ridden by a horse? I don't know. Figure it out.
I like that.
I like that.
That's kind of the feeling you get
So,
without the come down.
oh.
Or the shakes.
Yeah.
Play me off, Johnny.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Anyways, we're going to head over to Classroom Jackie for her 1 minute of murder.
Yes.
Classroom Jackie's 1 Minute of Murder.
All right, guys. So we did have some growth this week. Our TikTok obviously is going to be the last one we're going to hit. I tried to say Instagram first. I went to TikTok instead. Yeah. Instagram, we have 20 followers finally. Sorry, 35 followers.
Oh, we jumped up?
Yes.
How many did we jump up again? Was it last
10.
week? 10? Wow, that's awesome. Heck yeah.
So our Instagram, we have 35. Our YouTube, we have 184 subscribers.
Yeah, we still climbing with that. We
It's-
appreciate it.
Going crazy. Our Facebook page, we have 119 followers. And as of right now, because it's been growing for no reason, we have 1,407 followers on TikTok.
It's not for
Hell yeah.
Not for no reason.
No, I mean, like, in the last hour, it's just been
Oh, it's been going off
going
for
crazy.
Yeah.
We grew by 100 in an hour.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
friggin' awesome. Very, very
It's
cool.
going insane.
We do appreciate it, and per usual, don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell. What happens is when you hit that, it will notify you every time we are about to go. What's going on over there?
I went to go close the video.
Oh
and
my
it started.
gosh. I thought I was having technical difficulties back here at the command post.
You were fortunate. I have left the horn at home.
Unsafe, did you hear
And-
that? Thank you, Unsafe, too, for that. Congratulations.
We have
Thank you.
no horn tonight, guys.
Unsafe's going to be upset. There's no horn.
I really
Uh-huh.
don't feel like going to get it, and so I'm gonna try to see if I can locate a horn sound effect on
Nah.
my phone
Nah, I think we're good.
for you.
You don't need one. No, not tonight.
Unsafe, are you going to be okay without the horn tonight? I hope you're gonna get through this without the horn. I know that horn's like her friend. So
It's her emotional support part of the show.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight,
You're in for a
tonight's
rough
case,
one.
yes, tonight's case is very rough. It goes all the way back to when the first trial was in 2002. Okay,
It does involve children.
you'll need therapy, but you'll be fine. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. So, yeah, it does involve children, but it's not going to get like, we're not going to get into crazy graphic. It's not like, I mean, yes, it's sad and it's definitely messed up, but it's not like, you know, stabbings and all that kind of wild stuff. So, this has a little bit of a cult background to it. Well, according to her, you know, but it's got a lot going on. So, Criminology Chris, we're going to get a lot of his take and input too, as well. I was studying originally who we were going to cover, which we will eventually get to him. and I just wasn't feeling it. So I decided a last minute change. So here we are. Tonight we are covering Andrea Yates, also known and back when the trial was, she had, we'll get into it, but she had drowned her 5, kids. Very sad story, but we are going to go ahead and jump into this and get things rolling. Before she was a headline, before she was a defendant, Andrea Pia Kennedy was a shy, high-achieving girl from Houston, Texas. Born in 1964, she was the youngest of 5 children in a working-class Catholic family. Teachers remembered her as bright, serious, and disciplined. She wasn't the loud one in the room. She was the one who sat in the front, took notes, and did everything right.
Andrea excelled academically. She became valedictorian of her high school class and went on to become a registered nurse. She worked at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, one of the most respected cancer hospitals in the country. Coworkers described her as competent, reliable, and quiet. She wasn't the type to cause trouble or draw attention to herself. She followed rules, she did her job, she went home.
But even in those years, there were hints of something deeper, an intense perfectionism, a tendency towards self-criticism, and a strong religious conscience. Just gotta remember, there's no horn. It's okay. She wanted to be good, not just good enough, good in a moral, spiritual sense. That desire to be right in the eyes of God would later become a dangerous pressure point.
In 1989, Andrea was 25 years old and living in an apartment complex in Houston. She was working as a nurse, living alone, and by all accounts leading a quiet, structured life. That same year, a young engineer named Rusty Yates moved into the same complex. He worked for NASA contractors, was ambitious, intelligent, and deeply religious.
They met in the most ordinary way, by the pool at an apartment complex. Andrea was not the type to flirt or make bold moves, but Rusty noticed her. She was reserved, but there was a calmness about her, a gentleness that drew him in. They started talking, small talk at first, work, family, faith. Conversations turned into longer ones. They began spending time together, sharing meals, going for walks, and talking about their beliefs.
Rusty later said he was struck by how pure and sincere Andrea seemed. She wasn't flashy, she wasn't demanding. She wanted a simple life, a husband, children, a home. And importantly, they shared a deep religious orientation. That shared faith became the foundation of their relationship, something that felt like a strength at the time, but would later become a source of immense pressure.
Within months, they were inseparable. Andrea, who had spent so much of her life following rules, expectations, seemed to find in Rusty a clear path forward. Marriage, motherhood, a life of devotion. She stepped onto the path of wholeheartedly.
Early in their relationship, Rusty introduced Andrea to the teachings of a traveling Christian preacher named Michael Warnecki.
Yeah, that's a brutal one there.
Yeah.
Warren Nikia.
How would you say this?
When in doubt, we ask. College guy.
I'm going Warren Nicky.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Warnecki and his family lived a nomadic, almost help.
AD help.
Ascetic lifestyle, preaching in public spaces, criticizing modern churches, and calling people to a strict fundamentalist version of Christianity. We could just call it W.
Yeah, I go W.
Just say W's.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
W's message was intense. He preached that the world was corrupt, that modern society was spiritually dead. and that true believers had to separate themselves from worldly influences. He emphasized submission, especially for women. Wives were to obey their husbands, mothers were to stay home, raise their kids, and reject the selfishness of careers or personal ambitions. Now that guy,
I'm sorry,
that is some messed
couldn't
up
do it.
shit there. Yeah,
I really like working. I don't like, I had years where I got to sit home and be a stay-at-home mom, which is fantastic for a while. But I always felt I needed to be doing something more and contributing more. I could not imagine that being a part of my religion and saying you can't do this.
What do you think, Chris, of that, guys? I mean, you guys are married. Everybody, knows that. And if you don't, you do now. Oh, what is your take on that? I mean, that's, submit to their, husbands and obey and
Oh yeah, well, it is the old-fashioned
It-
way of
yeah,
things,
yeah.
and it's funny. Some people of different religions and things still operate similarly to that. And
Well,
so
yeah,
see it
I
as-
get the old school,
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
that, definitely. But it just some of it sounds like, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that it's worded. Some of it sounds like rough,
It
like,
kinda
you
just-
must obey me, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I mean, especially nowadays. Like, I mean, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not the world we live in anymore.
Yes.
For Andrea, who already had a strong sense of religious duty and a tendency towards self-denial, these teachings landed hard. They didn't just sound like suggestions, they sounded like commands from God. She began to internalize the idea that her worth was tied to how perfectly she could fulfill this role: obedient wife, devoted mother, self-sacrificing homemaker.
Rusty admired W's conviction. He saw him as a spiritual mentor. The couple began corresponding with the W's, visiting them and shaping their life decisions around this ideology. This wasn't just a casual influence, it was a framework for how they would build their marriage and family.
Andrea and Rusty married on April 17th, 1993. From the outside, it looked like a classic young Christian marriage. Two devout people starting a life together. But almost immediately, their life took on a restless, transient quality. Rusty's work as an engineer took them to different places, and their spiritual influences encouraged a kind of detachment from conventional stability. Man, they really gave me a sentence with really big words.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Why don't you keep them on your side? Shortly after marrying, they moved to Florida, where Rusty worked for NASA contractors. They didn't settle into a typical suburban home. Instead, they lived in a small trailer near the W family. It was cramped, minimal, and intentionally separate from what they saw as the excesses of modern life.
Andrea wrote letters during this time that revealed a woman trying desperately to be the perfect wife. She talked about wanting to be more obedient, more pure, more devoted. She worried about her own spiritual shortcomings. She saw everyday struggles, fatigue, frustration, and doubt, not as normal human experiences, but as moral failures.
The physical environment mirrored the psychological one, tight and constrained and constantly under the gaze of strict spiritual standard. There was little room for Andrea to say, I'm overwhelmed or I need help. The expectation was that she would endure, submit, and trust God.
It's just a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be. I feel like, mentally and physically that would wear somebody down relatively fast.
Not just that, it would ruin a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, just like we said, the fact that she had no room to say, this is too much, I need help. But I'm sure she was thinking it, and I'm sure it was eventually building over time mentally for her,
It had to be. In February 1994, Andrea gave birth to the
See, this is what happens when there's no horn. Ho!
Yeah, I know.
In February 1994, Andrea gave birth to her first child, Noah. For Andrea, motherhood was not, oh my lord. Motherhood was not just a desire, it was a calling. She believed that having children, raising them in the faith, and homeschooling them was her God-given purpose.
But the reality of caring for a newborn in a small, unstable living situation was exhausting. She was responsible for nearly all of the childcare and housework. Rusty worked long hours, and the religious messaging around her reinforced that this was her role, her duty, and that any struggle she felt was something to be prayed through, not necessarily treated or shared.
After Florida, the family moved back to Houston. They lived in a small house, then later in a converted bus and a camper. These weren't just financial decisions, they were ideological. Ideological?
No, I think it
you
was right the first
should have
time.
gone with what you had.
Okay. The Yateses believed in living simply, rejecting materialism, and staying mobile. But for Andrea, that meant no real sense of home base, no stable, comfortable environment to raise a growing family.
Even in these years, there were signs of strain. Andrea was described as extremely devoted to her kids, but also increasingly isolated. She didn't have a wide social circle. She wasn't going out, building, friendships or getting breaks. Her world was shrinking to the walls of whatever small space they were living in and the needs of her child.
The Yateses believed that children were blessings and that they should welcome as many as God gave them. In 1995, Andrea gave birth to their second son, John. In 97, their third son, Paul, and in 99, their fourth son, Luke. 4 children in 5 years. That's kind of like the Duggars.
It's a lot.
Wasn't that like Mormons? They want to
Yeah.
have lots and lots of children.
I remember growing up, my parents watched that show, and I caught bits and pieces, but I never really got into that. So I don't remember offhand, but God, my mom used to be really big into it until all that stuff came out with one of them, which I think recently more just came out
Oh
with
yeah, and
another
another one got arrested. Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Mormon, they might have been.
Yeah, well, a lot of, I mean, regardless of religion, I think everybody used to have much larger families back in the day. Like, we've departed from that kind of too. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
things are anymore. Even like Catholicism, like I think, in my history, I think family in the past, like everybody, I have so many relatives because they had such large families.
Yeah,
There was like 6 or 8 of them,
yeah. My dad's side was like that. It was very large. Brothers, he had like 7.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
family get together, especially when everybody started having kids.
That was
and
wild.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
That was
dude,
like
we
a
had
family reunion. You
Yeah,
had
We-
to rent a park.
that's what we used to have to go to the parks or rent venues
Right.
just to hold
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
It would be very lonely for her, unsafe.
Yes, that would be a lot to go through. Definitely. Let's see. Each pregnancy took a physical and emotional toll. Her responsibilities multiplied. With every new baby, she was homeschooling, cooking, cleaning, managing the household, and caring for 4 young children, all under the age of 6. Often in a cramped living condition, there was no nanny, no regular childcare, no consistent outside support.
The religious framework they lived under didn't encourage her to say, "This is too much." Instead, it encouraged her to see sacrifice as holy, to push through exhaustion, to see suffering as part of her spiritual duty, and because Andrea was already wired toward perfectionism and self-criticism, she internalized that message deeply.
By the time Luke was born, she was not just tired, she was fraying. Her mind and body were under constant strain, and soon that strain would break.
After the excuse me. After the birth of her 4th child, Luke, in 1999, Andrea experienced her first major psychiatric crisis. It didn't look like simple baby blues. It was something far more severe and terrifying.
She stopped eating, she stopped speaking, she became almost catatonic. at times, staring, unresponsive, withdrawn. At one point, she held a knife to her neck and begged Rusty to let her die. This wasn't a woman who was just overwhelmed. This was a woman in the grip of serious mental illness. I had to add that. I'm sorry. Just,
Andrea was hospitalized and eventually diagnosed with severe postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. Postpartum psychosis is rare but extremely dangerous. It can involve hallucinations, delusions, and a complete break from reality. It is a psychiatric emergency.
Now, that partum, like, I knew about it some in a little bit, but then I dug a little bit deeper into it, and it's crazy how that can happen. And here I just figured, like, the root cause was that the mom was no longer carrying the baby and the baby was out. So kind of like that whole detachment. But then come to find out it's a lot more than that.
It is.
Wrapped up into one.
It can cause a lot of hard feelings towards the child that they give birth to.
Yeah,
they
delusions and hallucinations and that kind of thing. Because the difference, I think, between postpartum psychosis and postpartum depression is that postpartum psychosis, you can have these, like, I think they're like egosyntonic, like, episodes where they align, like, these hallucinations or these delusions are aligning with your belief system, so you are more apt to believe them or to accept them as being correct.
Oh, no shit.
So when you have those delusions and things and they're aligning with your belief system, people will accept those and just, that's got to be right. That can't be wrong. So I think they don't argue with it. And if you don't argue with it, I think it can be, like you were saying, a hell of a lot more dangerous.
Wow. Yeah, that would be scary. I can't even imagine going through that, It's almost like at a point you don't have control of your mind and what you could possibly do if it gets to that point, Doctors prescribed antipsychotic medications, including, is that Haldol? Okay. Under medical care and with medication, she started to improve. Unsafe. It's a real medical condition. Lack of support and sleep can add to it. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Definitely. If you don't have the support and the sleep, yeah. Because then you really start, your brain's not functioning right. You're shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she started to improve. The fog lifted and she became more responsive, more engaged. The crisis seemed to pass.
But the underlying vulnerability, the brain chemistry, the susceptibility to psychosis did not disappear. And the doctors knew that. They issued clear warnings.
Andrea's doctors warned Rusty and the family about the seriousness of her condition. They told them that the postpartum psychosis put her at high risk for future episodes. They stressed that she needed ongoing psychiatric care, consistent medication, and a stable, low-stress environment, which we already know she didn't have it in her household.
Right. Yeah.
Most importantly, they warned that she could not have more children. Another pregnancy, they said, could trigger another psychotic break, possibly worse than that first one.
Chris, you got to do something. I just don't feel like we're complete without the light on your mic on. I just haven't felt complete for weeks now.
What's going on there?
It's on the bottom big button there.
There's two big buttons.
Yeah, don't hit the one that mutes you. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's the big one.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, see, now we're complete.
Yes.
This is it. We are
There it
lit.
is.
We're living it.
Do I sound better?
Yeah,
You just
definitely.
sound cooler.
Because of the...
You kind of sound like Drake now.
Oh.
But those medical warnings collided with the Yateses. Boy, that's a rough one to say, Yateses. Yates' religious beliefs and their vision of family life. Rusty believed Andrea could recover with the faith, structure, and support. She could handle more children. He saw her improvement on medication as proof that she was better.
Better in parentheses.
Yeah, right. better.
Andrea, for her part, was deeply conditioned to submit to her husband, to God, to the idea that motherhood was her highest calling. Saying no more children might have felt to her like a spiritual failure, like she was rejecting God's will.
Yeah, unsaved. But I mean, really, your wife is going through this, but you want to keep knocking her up. According to religious, the man is their religion. The man is the leader. Yeah, like, okay, you're going through this stuff right now. Key to it is let's keep knocking you up.
Well, it's surprising that they even allowed, I mean, in this kind of situation, they were religious to the point where it's surprising that they even accepted medication for this. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, considering the circumstances, you'd think
Oh,
that
that's
they would've-
true.
You'd think they would have gone down the road of like, well, yeah, well, it's God's will, I mean,
Self-care
kind of
type thing.
Well,
if something happens to her, then that's it just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
look at it this way, and there was a point on the Duggars. I used to like the show for some reason.
We can tell.
Where-
I don't even know what that show is. I've never even heard
19
of it.
Kids and Counting.
Sure.
Anywho, the matriarch of the family, they're just gonna pick on me. This is not fair.
No, I was laughing because Chris was like, sure, okay.
The mom, so the matriarch, was told that she should not have any more children as there was an increased risk to her life. And she still got knocked up and then ended up losing that child.
Yeah.
Because she did not listen because of their beliefs of you continue having kids until you can't have kids anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, know all about the Duggars. Okay, so unsafe. She
Unsafe,
gets
I
it.
have someone to talk to about this now. Thank you.
Not all about the Benjamins anymore. It's all about the Duggars.
Duggars.
And I have still no idea who the hell we're talking about.
I'll show you later.
So instead of treating the doctor's warnings as hard boundaries, they became more like suggestions, things to be weighed against faith, hope, and ideology. And in that conflict, medicine lost.
Despite the warnings, Andrea became pregnant again. In November 2000, she gave birth to their 5th child, a daughter named Mary. For the first time after 4 girls, Andrea had a little girl. There are accounts that she was thrilled, that she doted on Mary, and that she saw her as a blessing.
After 4 boys, they had a little girl?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Jeez. But the strain that had nearly broken her after Luke's birth was now compounded. Oh, God.
What did I say?
She was caring for 5 children under the age of 7.
Time out. What did I say?
You said after 4 girls, she finally had a girl. just for the record.
He
So,
really
I don't have
wishes he had the
sound, but-
horn.
yeah.
Unsafe, give us the horn emoji every time there's a fuck up in the
Yeah.
chat.
No,
Yeah,
please
that'd
don't.
be great. Thank you. Yeah.
Just go like this. Go Hong Kong.
Get my back.
Anyways, she was caring for 5 children under the age of 7. She was still expected to homeschool. She said nope. Wow. But now watch. I'm going to screw up and she'll honk the horn.
You're supposed to have my back,
She was
David.
still expected to homeschool, to maintain the home, to live up to a strict religious idol, and her brain chemistry already proven vulnerable. I don't like that word. I really don't like that.
Vulnerability.
Stop. Was once again thrown into the hormonal chaos of postpartum.
Hey,
Now she's gonna put the horn since I
Weird.
fucked up.
It's a mess.
my eye's looking at you.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you.
My nail has an eye on it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Within months of Mary's birth, Andrea began to
But get the bit that dude.
It's the Looney Tunes, guys. Within months of Mary's birth, Andrea began to deteriorate. I can't.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Deteriorate. Is that how you say that? I can read it just fine. I can't say it.
We're never gonna make Netflix.
Oh, no, that's not in the cards.
She became withdrawn, anxious, and increasingly consumed by religious fears. She started expressing beliefs that she was a bad mother, that she was failing her children spiritually, and that something was wrong with her soul.
She stopped taking her medications consistently, whether it was due to side effects, a desire to breastfeed, or a belief that she was better. The result was the same. The chemical protection that had helped stabilize her after her first psychotic break was slipping away.
In March 2001, Andrea attempted to overdose on her medications. This was not a subtle cry for help. It was a desperate act from someone who felt trapped in her own mind. She was hospitalized again, and once more doctors reinstated Haldol. Once more she improved. So she tried to overdose herself on it to take care of herself, which means she knew she was struggling.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that as like, hey, like I need help. I can't do this by myself anymore.
I wonder, overdosing on a drug that's supposed to treat that, I wonder what that would do or how that changes it, you know? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
yeah, probably. I would imagine, almost like intensifies certain things, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor,
No,
pharmacist, any of that stuff. So,
no.
but the pattern repeated. As soon as she showed signs of stabilization, there was pressure, internal and external, to bring her home, to resume normal life, to trust that she could manage. Rusty believed in her resilience. He believed in their faith. He believed that with enough structure and support, she could be okay. Honestly, her man should know. Yeah, very true, Unsafe. He should know that she's struggling. I mean, if you're significant,
If she
other
just tried
doesn't.
to overdose on her medication and
Yeah.
you had to have her hospitalized again, you should realize, hey, this
But-
is a cry for help.
That's the problem, is that he's following,
religious
W's whole speaking. It's like, who was that we covered that they were the cult killers? It was in season 1 that we did the husband and wife, and they went to that seminar and they were listening.
Oh,
Yeah, those two, but it's like the same thing, They went
Yes.
to that seminar and they were listening
they
to
thought
that.
everybody was zombies and that they were
Yeah.
souls or possessed.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
That one.
yeah,
And then
I
they
remember
ended
that.
up killing the kids. Yeah. Okay. Your turn.
By May and June of 2001, Andrea's condition was deteriorating again. She was becoming more paranoid, more withdrawn. She was filling notebooks with religious writings, obsessing over sin, salvation, and damnation. She expressed fears that her children were not right with God, that they might grow up to be evil, that she was failing them spiritually.
At some point, she stopped taking her medications completely. Whether she chose to or whether it was a gradual slide, the effect was catastrophic. The psychosis returned, this time more entrenched, or no,
Yeah.
yeah, and about that. Anyways,
And more dangerous. And on the morning of June 20th, 2001, the pressure inside her mind reached a breaking point.
all right, now we are jumping into the morning of the crime that she had committed. It was a Wednesday morning at Clear Lake, a suburb of Houston. The Yates home was modest, 3 bedrooms, a small yard, the kind of place you'd drive past without a second thought. Inside lived 2 parents and 5 children. Noah, who was 7, John was 5, Paul was 3, Luke was 2, and baby Mary just 6 months old.
Rusty left for work around 9 a.m. He later said he believed Andrea was stable enough to be alone with the children, especially because his mother was scheduled to arrive about an hour later to help. That 1-hour window between Rusty leaving and his mother arriving would become the most scrutinized hour of Andrea's life.
After Rusty left, she walked to the bathroom and turned on the bathtub faucet. The sound of running water filled the house. The children were nearby, some watching television, some playing. There was no screaming, no immediate signs of chaos, just a mother, a bathtub, and a mind consumed by delusion.
Andrea later told investigators that she believed her children were in danger. Not from an intruder, not from the world, but from themselves. She believed that if they grew up, they would fall into sin, be corrupted, and go to hell. In her psychotic state, she became convinced that the only way to save their souls was to kill them while they were still innocent.
She brought them into the bathroom one by one. Accounts differ slightly on the exact order, but it's widely reported that she drowned the younger boys first, John, Paul, and Luke. She held each child underwater until their bodies went limp. Then she lifted them out and laid them on her bed, side by side.
Then she drowned baby Mary, a 6-month-old infant unable to understand, unable to resist. Andrea placed Mary's body in her crib.
Unsafe. I don't condone what she did. However, her man, who she trusted to lead her accordingly to religion, did not put her first. The signs were there. It's true. Very true. He didn't help the situation.
But wasn't the Warren Neckies, I believe one of his things was, even though the men were in charge and responsible for everything, that the women should know. I believe was one of his things. I'll look.
Warnecki, which one was?
W.
W.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Her oldest son, Noah, walked into the bathroom and saw Mary floating in the tub. Realizing something was terribly wrong, he turned and ran. She chased him, caught him, and dragged him back into the bathroom, and she drowned him too.
When it was over, 5 children were dead. Their bodies were laid out in the house, a scene so devastating that first responders would later struggle to describe it.
After killing her children, she picked up the phone and dialed 911. Her voice on the call was calm, almost flat. She told the operator that she needed the police. When asked what was wrong, she said, "I just killed my kids."
It's so fucked up.
And I had a 911 call. Let me see if I can bring that up because it's short. But give me a second. While you do the next part, I will bring that up. You should be under, she then called Rusty.
Oh. She then called Rusty at work and told him to come home. She didn't tell him why, just that he needed to come. When he arrived, the house was already swarming with police and emergency responders. He tried to run inside, but officers stopped him. Can you read this part?
Inside, investigators found the bodies of the children. Outside, neighbors watched in shock as the scene unfolded. News vans would arrive soon after. Within hours, the story was on local television. Within days, it was national.
I figured it gives you a minute to find what you needed.
Oh, okay. I thought you were having them read your part. I'm like, I'm confused.
Andrea was taken into custody. She did not flee. She did not deny what she had done. The question was never whether she killed her children. The question was why and what her mental state was when she did it.
So I have it here. I'm not going to put it up on the screen at all. I'll just let it play. It's only 47 seconds here, so I will...
Houston Police, it's Stubblefield.
I need a police officer.
What's the problem? Someone burglarized your house? I mean, what is it? Hello?
I just need a police officer. I just need him to come.
Are you there alone?
No, my kids are here.
Before we jump back in, if you can go on the website, michaelwarnecki.com, which is this guy, the one whose beliefs they followed.
Oh.
There is a notice on the top of the thing that says, "We are currently the victims of a malicious Hollywood media gossip narrative built on a deliberate what the heck is that word?
Mendacity.
Of lies surrounding a tragic event that occurred nearly 30 years ago. Yes, 30 years, and also against us as Christians suffering for Jesus Christ." So he's immediately goes into the Andrea Yates case and saying, "I didn't have anything to do with this. Our following didn't have anything to do with this."
Oh, he's trying to watch his back, cover his ass. That's what he's doing there. Which, I could see that,
Well,
coming too.
even so, I mean, not in defense of the guy or anything like that, but like just because you preach what you preach doesn't mean that you're responsible for something like this either. So I mean, it's not like he tried to stop her from getting help or anything like that. Like, you can't just hold him responsible or anything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like that was ever an intention of theirs
Yeah.
for that kind of thing to ever happen to anybody.
I'm going to show this interview that they did with her in the psych ward after the killings and stuff. And watch her body, language and what she says and stuff too. It's this is pretty wild. So give me a.
What were you trying to accomplish then when you did take your children's lives?
Maybe in their innocent years, God would take them up.
God would take them up to be in heaven, is that what you mean? All right. And if you had not taken their lives, what did you think would happen to them?
I guess they would have continued stumbling.
And where would they end up?
Hell.
In hell.
Wanting to know what Andrea meant by stumbling, the psychiatrist then asked her about her children's behavior.
What sort of things did they do which showed you they weren't right?
Well, they weren't. They just did a lot of silly stuff and didn't obey.
Didn't obey you when you told them to do things. All right. You mentioned their manners before. Can you give me an example of their manners?
When Rusty's mom would visit, they would not treat her well, call her names.
Be disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you concluded that they were not righteous and...
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, they're kids.
Kids do silly things. Sorry.
Kids do silly things. Sometimes they're disrespectful and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's what they do, Anyways, let me get rid of that there.
Sorry, the oldest was 7. So 7. That's first grade. You don't know full manners yet.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, they're kids, I mean, but anyways,
you can't tell at 7 that they're just going down the wrong path.
Yeah, right.
You're
going down a horrible path.
So,
bad, dark path.
Overdose of that psychotic medicine antipsychotic she was on can cause hypertension, cardiac arrhythmias, blackouts, and mental fog.
Okay. Thank you, David, for looking that up.
Any sort of psychologically affecting medication. I'm sure any sort of prescribed medication.
Yeah.
You overdo it and it's going to do something to you.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be good,
Yeah. Yep. Okay. In 2002, Andrea Yates went on trial for capital murder. The prosecution's case was straightforward and chilling. They argued that Andrea knew right from wrong. They pointed to the fact that she waited until Rusty left for work, that she locked the family dog in a crate so it wouldn't interfere. Then she called 911 afterward. To them, these were signs of planning and awareness.
They painted a picture of a woman who, while mentally ill, still understood the nature and consequences of her actions. They emphasized the horror of the crime, the ages of the children, the method of killing, the deliberate nature of drowning each child one by one. They argued that this was not an accident, not a momentary snap, but a series of intentional acts.
In Texas, capital murder can carry the death penalty. The stakes could not have been higher. The prosecution pushed hard, knowing that the public outrage was on their side. Many people hearing only the basic facts saw Andrea as a monster, a mother who killed her children. For some, that was all that they needed to know.
The defense told a very different story. They did not dispute that Andrea killed her children. Instead, they focused on her mental state. They brought in psychiatrists who testified about her long history of severe mental illness, her postpartum psychosis, her hospitalizations, her suicide attempts, and her delusions.
They explained that in a psychotic state, a person can hold beliefs that are completely disconnected from reality and yet feel absolutely true to them. Kind of like what you were talking about, Chris, with that, psychosis there.
Yeah.
Andrea believed that Satan was influencing her, that her children were in a spiritual danger, that by killing them while they were still innocent, she was saving them from eternal damnation.
The defense argued that this was not the thinking of a cold-blooded killer. It was the thinking of a woman whose brain was broken by illness. They pointed to the medical warnings that had been ignored, the medications that had been stopped, and the clear pattern of psychosis that had been documented by professionals.
So this is a whole rabbit hole you can get going down here with this, because she was already diagnosed with this multiple times, went off the meds, went on the meds, went off, tried to
overdose on them.
Had this whole family thing going on where her husband was pushing her and let's have more kids, blah, blah, blah. So, and after hearing what you're talking about and everybody talking about with postpartum and stuff, I mean, this is, if you see interview that we just showed, she is so calm.
Oh, very.
She is scary calm.
Yeah.
And the fact that she called and we heard on that call how she just admitted everything and was calm during the whole entire phone call. Like, this is wild. At first, when all this was going on, I don't remember too much of it in 2002 because I think I was only in like 8th grade or something. But when I heard about it throughout the years, I remember thinking like, wow, like this is some messed up shit, piece of shit. She just randomly killed her kids. But then you dig into it, and I don't condone any of this, absolutely not. But there's more to it. It goes deeper.
Right.
There's more to it. And it sounds like to me she could have been in some sort of, psychosis mental state again. I mean, because she stopped taking all of her meds.
From the medication could have caused this.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. And the fact that she just did everything like we were just saying, that she believed Satan was in her body and just telling her that she had to save. I mean, this is wild.
Right.
This is wild. And the fact that I remember them talking about years ago, the reason like why she had laid them out side by side on the bed, and I think by age too, if I remember correctly. That's crazy. Like, why that? Why? It's like placing them nicely on. It's almost like she was like sacrificing them by placing them like that on the bed. You know,
it was like a respect thing.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
it was, yeah.
I mean, just wild.
Well, you can take a couple different stances, I think, on this whole thing. You look at her, and like you said, you see her, and a lot of people are just like, I don't give a shit whether she was on drugs or had issues or whatever. Yeah. The lady killed her kids. Like, at the end of the day, you're just like, fucking lock her up. Death penalty, like sign her up, good to go. See you later. And then, other people obviously will look a little bit deeper and say, hey, like, yeah, maybe it just wasn't. I mean, how do you do something intentionally like that and still and to lay them out and to make that phone call and to be like dead? Just
you're gonna call your husband and tell him to come home.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, I need you to come home, and you call it 911. Yeah, hi. I need a police officer. It's just so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
She literally
not interrupted by mentally by what she has done.
Because you think somebody that had intentionally killed the kids, they would have figured out a way to run. They would have figured out a way to hide it. To do something.
I do have a question. So she got the 3 youngest boys first, then Mary. So baby didn't understand. 3 youngest boys probably didn't understand what she was doing either.
Well, they stated they weren't clear of, order that she did it.
Well, she's not in the order, but she said at least it was the three youngest is believed to be first, and then Mary, and then the oldest.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to sound fucked up, do you think she planned on killing the youngest ones, laying them out, and then tell the son, like the oldest, like, you need to be cleansed, I'm going to do the same thing I did to them?
I don't know.
Maybe that's why she waited for him last?
There had to have been so much going through her head.
Who even knows?
I couldn't
mean,
even. I mean, it had to have been.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're, asking, but it's just wild. I mean, once again, she is a monster. I mean, truly, without a doubt.
Monster mother.
This whole thing is wild, but you don't hear this happening. I mean, you hear of
not often.
You hear
anymore.
of killings happening all the time. Unfortunately, stabbing, shootings, different things like this and that. But this is like, there's a lot in this, and I can see where they're saying that this could be premeditated. It could be planned because she waited till he left. She did everything in a certain, fashion, order.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see what they're saying there.
That's actually going to come up in part of the testimony, that it could have been premeditated.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, why didn't she do it? Well, if it was acceptable in her mind, in any way, like why would she wait for that hour window?
Yeah. Yeah, true. Okay.
In the end, the jury rejected the insanity defense. They found Andrea guilty of capital murder. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years.
The verdict was celebrated by some as justice for children. Others, including many in the mental health community, saw it as a failure to recognize the reality of severe postpartum psychosis. To them, Andrea was not a villain, but a profoundly ill woman who had been failed by the systems and people around her.
Andrea was sent to prison, but her story in the legal system wasn't over, because buried in the prosecution's case was a critical error, one that would eventually unravel the verdict. And I didn't know about this until we started digging into this case. It's crazy.
During the first trial, a prosecution expert witness, psychiatrist Dr. Park Diaz, testified that Andrea might have been influenced by an episode of the TV show Law and Order, in which a woman drowned her children and was found not guilty by reason of insanity. The implication was that Andrea could have modeled her actions on that storyline.
There was just one problem. That episode didn't exist. No such episode had ever aired. The testimony was false.
This error became the basis for an appeal. In 2005, a Texas appeals court ruled that the false testimony could have been improperly influenced the jury and overturned Andrea's conviction. She was granted a new trial.
This didn't mean she was suddenly free. It meant the legal system had to take another look, this time with a more careful examination of her mental state and without the taint of fabricated evidence.
You had to, didn't you?
I had to.
Yes.
I went out of my way for that shit.
There you go.
In 2006, the year that I graduated, Andrea Yates was retired. I'm sorry, retried.
She was definitely retired to jail.
Wow. She retired.
All right, there, Snuggie. Where's your horn emoji?
It 100% has been a night.
We need a tuba for that one.
Okay. In 2006, Andrea Yates was retried. This time, the defense leaned even more heavily into the psychiatric evidence. They presented a detailed timeline of her mental health, fuck you, Chris, health decline, her hospitalizations, her delusions, and the medical warnings that had been ignored. Unsafe ain't doing that horn.
She's sitting there busting up laughing.
I hope coffee comes out your nose.
Experts testified that Andrea's psychosis was not a brief episode, but a chronic, severe condition that had been exacerbated by repeated pregnancies, lack of consistent treatment, and intense religious pressure. They described her belief that killing her children was an act of mercy, not malice.
The prosecution. See, I knew she was doing it. The prosecution. Prosecution, boys.
Grandpa, you need some teeth.
The prosecution still argued that she knew her actions were legally wrong, that her attempts to conceal the crime, her timing, and her 911 call showed awareness. But the narrative had shifted. The public understanding of postpartum psychosis had grown. The false testimony from the first trial had cast doubt on the fairness of the original verdict.
But with the 911 call, I understand, like, she called. It was very quiet. The lady had to ask her what was going on, ask if she was there multiple times. When she said she needed police, and when the lady asked, okay, is there anyone else there with you? She said, yeah, my children. She didn't admit to saying that her children were alive. She didn't say they were dead on the phone. She just said she needed police.
Yeah.
This time, the jury found Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity. Instead of prison, she was committed to a secure mental health facility, where she remains to this day.
She rarely speaks publicly. She has declined.
Whoa.
Can I help you?
Yeah,
are
you're missing your...
Are you... Well, you know what I say. I do what I do.
You're talking about my spot.
Andrea Yates has spent the last 2 decades in Texas State Mental Hospital. She is not in a typical prison cell, but she is not free. Her life is structured around treatment, medication, therapy, and routine. She has been described as quiet, compliant, and deeply remorseful.
She rarely speaks publicly. She has declined most interview requests. There are reports that she spends time reading the Bible, participating in group activities, and engaging in therapy. Staff has said that when she is stable on medication, she is gentle and soft-spoken, far from the monstrous image that people still hold.
Andrea has reportedly expressed a belief that she deserves punishment, that she cannot forgive herself for what she did, even in the insanity verdict, even with the recognition of her illness. She carries the weight of her actions every day.
Rusty Yates, the father of the 5 children, has had to live with a different kind of burden. He lost all of his children in a single morning. He lost the life he thought he was building, and he had to confront his own role in what happened.
Rusty eventually remarried and had more children, but that marriage ended in divorce. Over the years, he has spoken publicly about the tragedy, sometimes defending her as a sick woman who needed help. Gee, she gave you a lot of signs there, Rusty, and you couldn't do anything. Sometimes expressing regret that he didn't fully grasp the severity of her illness. You think?
I wonder if his second marriage, the reason it ended in divorce, was because he was doing the same things he did to Andrea, with all the pressures and everything.
Probably was. It wouldn't surprise me. He seems, yeah. Anyways.
He has been criticized for pushing for more children despite medical warnings, for leaving Andrea alone with the kids, for trusting that faith and willpower could overcome psychosis. Those criticisms are not simple. They sit in the uncomfortable space where love, denial, ignorance, and responsibility all collide.
David Yates was prescribed Effexor, Ramorin, Wellbutrin, and Zoloft.
It's a lot of combinations.
Yeah, that is.
It might not have been all at one time.
The Andrea Yates case had become a watershed moment in public awareness of postpartum mental illness. Before this, many people had heard of postpartum depression, but few understood the existence or the danger of postpartum psychosis. Move on. Don't give a shit. Move on.
Again, postpartum psychosis is rare, but when it happens, it is a psychotic...
How's that working out?
Psychiatric emergency, everybody.
It can involve hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, and a complete break from reality. It is strongly associated with an increased risk of suicide, and in some cases, infanticide. It is not simply feeling sad after birth. It is a medical crisis that requires immediate intensive treatment.
In the years since the Yates case, Don't tell me this word because I know it.
Advocacy.
Yep, how about them ice cream shops? Mental
Guys,
health
this is not
professionals
scripted.
and survivors have worked to educate the public and push for better screening, support, and treatment for postpartum mental health conditions. The case is often cited in medical literature, legal discussions, and training programs, such as a tragic example of what can happen when warning signs are missed or minimized.
Another layer of the Yates story that continues to be examined is the role of religion and gender expectations. Andrea was not just a mother, she was a mother operating under an extreme ideal, one that demanded total self-sacrifice, submission, and perfection.
The teachings of Michael W. and the broader fundamentalist culture around the Yates family reinforce the idea that a woman's value was tied to her obedience and her ability to bear and raise kids.
What did you think was going on over here?
I don't know. I seen movement out of the corner of my eye. I didn't know. I seen him move. You move the things and the stuff.
Just a stretching of the back.
Admitting that she was overwhelmed, that she couldn't handle more kids, that she needed help. That might have felt to Andrea like spiritual failure.
When you combine that with a brain vulnerable to psychosis, the result can be catastrophic. The pressure to be perfect, to never say I can't, to see suffering as holy. Those ideas can become lethal when filtered through a mind that is losing its grip on reality.
It's important to say this clearly. Religion did not make Andrea kill her children. Mental illness did not make her evil. But the intersection of severe psychosis, rigid religious expectations, and ignored medical warnings created a perfect storm.
Even today, people are divided on how to see Andrea Yates. Some still view her as a murderer who escaped full punishment because of a legal technicality. Others see her as a victim of a devastating illness and a system that failed to protect her and her children.
The truth is uncomfortable because it doesn't fit neatly into one category. Andrea did something horrific. 5 children are dead that can never be softened or excused. At the same time, she was profoundly ill, and multiple professionals saw the danger coming and tried to intervene.
Blame in this case is not a single line pointing at one person. It's a web. It touches Andrea, Rusty, the medical system, the religious influences, and a broader culture that often minimizes mental health struggles as just hormones or baby blues.
What we do with that discomfort, whether we turn away from it or let it change how we think about mental illness, motherhood, and responsibility, says a lot about us. Andrea Yates will likely spend the rest of her life in a mental health facility. She is not the woman the world saw in mugshots and headlines. She is older now, quieter, medicated, and living in the long shadow of what happened in that house in 2001.
Her children, Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary, exist now only in photographs, in memories, and in the haunting what-ifs that surround this case. What if the warnings had been taken more seriously? What if the medications had never been stopped? What if someone had said, no more pregnancies? What if someone had stayed with her that morning?
That was me.
That was me.
That was me. That was my buddy Mike deciding it was okay to message me.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike?
To send me a goofy meme. Anyways, we can't rewrite what happened, but we can refuse to look away from the complexity of it. We can learn to recognize the signs of severe mental illness. We can take postpartum psychosis seriously. We can question symptoms, religious, medical, culture that demand perfection from mothers while giving them so little support.
I think you meant systems.
That's cool. Did I?
Yes.
It was close.
This story doesn't have a clean ending. It's a tragedy that keeps echoing in courtrooms, in hospitals, in churches, and in the quiet rooms where new mothers sit alone with thoughts they're too afraid to say out loud.
So I have something I'm going to read here. I've got court reporter documents from the first.
That's a complete piece of poop right there of a
What?
human being.
Oh, I thought you were looking at something in the chat.
Yeah,
I was like,
wonder
what?
what
Did you
were
read the
talking
chat?
about.
Oh, Rusty said that he felt that postpartum depression was like the flu and Yates would get over it. Wow.
What a piece of poop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. So this is a interview. This was one of the witnesses. It was like the second one in the first trial in 2002. And it was the psychiatric doctor that was talking to her. And you'll see in here, I'm going to read this since these two love when I do my court readings here.
Hey, you do an awesome job of it.
Yeah. Can't read nothing else well, but hell, I can read court documents. Anyways, there is answer and question here, and what it is it's going to be the state asking this, doctor question. So I'm going to read this back and forth. So the state, it's going to start with the question. I believe you testified on Friday that your goal is to write down as much information as you can about the interview, but certainly you are also focusing on questions, and it won't be a verbatim recitation of what they say. Doctor responds back, in some of these statements, I tried to get them because what I wanted to do. I was cross-covering for Dr. Osterman, and I wanted her to know the quality, the amount, and the severity of delusion. So I tried to get statements. Question, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Those are the ones you put in quotation marks. Then he responds back, yes, this is court reporter documents, so they type literally everything down. If somebody farts in the room, they type it down. And it's true, they literally. So, leave me alone, Chris.
We should get our own stenographer.
Oh my God. The way they type is crazy, man. They go to school for that shit, too.
We just pause the show, be like, hey, Gerald, could you read that back?
So, question, one of the things that was addressed on Friday is that she was fixated on her father's dying, and she felt like her father purposely killed him by committing suicide by starvation. When I asked her if there was suicide in the family, she used that as a potential. And I believed you said she had a lot of feelings of guilt as a nurse. She wasn't able to help her father with the burden of having to balance responsibilities between her father and the 5 young kids. Yes, I think as a nurse, but mostly as a daughter, she felt she had failed her father. As she indicated that she blamed herself a great deal and had a great blame for her father's death. Yes, she did. And she felt overwhelmed by everything that was going on in her life at this point. Yes, at one point. At one point, she talked about the fact that she had thoughts of harming Noah. And when I talked to you about those thoughts about hurting Noah, you classified those as an intrusive thoughts. Yes, I did. Now you talked about the fact that she began isolating herself. Yes. And she felt she was a bad daughter. Bad mother and bad daughter. Yes, she did say that. As she indicated, she had lost all desire for sex. She really didn't have any pleasure in anything. She felt too tired to shower, and she was really overwhelmed with her homeschooling responsibilities. Those were her direct responses to my questions that had to do with, have you had sex recently with your husband? Have you been able to take care of yourself? Yes, that's correct. So at one point, she says in here, and this is, I gotta find where that. So she did homeschooling, and she felt that she had failed her kids to teach them. So she felt like she had not been able to teach them and educate them in a manner that was acceptable to her. She had done something wrong. She felt she had failed as a homeschooler, but also that the child had somehow been developing incorrectly. I'm trying to find a point. She also brought up the fact about the 7 deadly sins. Do you recall that? Yes, I do. And she confided to you in the 7 deadly sins. My children weren't righteous, indicated her interpretation of the 7 deadly sins. Yes, she had committed all 6 of the deadly sins, but now had completed the 7th deadly sin, murder. So she put at one point in here, and I don't remember exactly where it's at, but it's crazy. You know, she feels big time like she had failed her kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the homeschooling and stuff, and I can't even imagine doing home, schooling. That's got to be tough. It's a lot,
I don't even like teaching myself at home, let alone.
I think if she still had,
teaching myself.
if she hadn't quit working to be a stay-at-home mom, to be that person, maybe if she had her outlet of work, this may not have happened.
Could have been, yeah. So,
well, like you said, I think it was a myriad of multiple things that led to this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't any individual thing.
Here is the point we were talking about. Do you remember if someone else in the room or yourself asked her specifically, did you know it was wrong when you drowned Noah? So, it's the state asking, did either the doctor or somebody else in the room? So the doctor responds with, I don't remember phrasing a question. Do you know it was wrong that way? And I'm not sure I remember anyone else, but they could have, because at certain points when I was writing the statements down, I was saying to the rest of the room, do you have any other questions for Mrs. Yates while I write this down? So it could be possible somebody asked her that. Well, do you remember if you asked her questions, Mrs. Yates, have you hurt one of your children on previous occasions? I asked her if she ever felt like if she had ever abused her children at all. Yes. And do you remember how she responded to that? She said no. So she had no history. Do you remember making any statements about her accidentally pulling the third child, Paul's, hair, and she didn't mean to pull his hair, but she pulled his hair and hurt him in that manner? And the doctor's saying, I'm trying to remember. I do remember. What I do remember, I'm not sure I remember that specifically. Boy, that's a lot of remembers there in that one. I do remember, but I'm not sure if I remember, but I do specifically remember. I do remember her talking about how she felt unable. I believe one of the children, and I cannot remember which one it was, somehow hurt themselves, and she was unable, she said, to offer them any comfort or do anything for them. And she didn't get up or anything. And one of the other children had to comfort him. So she was probably already spiraling downward at that point.
Right there, that's a big red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag. Something's wrong. We need to get her help. Hey, Rusty, you should have been a better human being and not a piece of dog poop.
Poo-poo. Poo-poo. Did she tell you that she had made the determination that she was going to kill the children the night before? I do remember hearing her say that, but I don't remember if it was in the first one or two meetings or even the first week. But yes, I do remember her saying that she had thought about it the night before. And she had made the decision the night before.
Wouldn't that be premeditated?
Technically, yes. Correct, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Correct, Chris?
Agree.
Correct, Chris?
So how did she... So, okay. I know she was found guilty by reason of insanity.
Correct.
But did they bring up the premeditation point of that in either of those?
You can't premeditate something, though, if you're not in the right frame of mind either. I mean, even
but
if...
she decided
really?
the night before.
Well, yeah, even if the night before, like, if she was nuts then and planned something, it doesn't mean that, you know...
So they were asking her in here, do you remember her ever making a statement that I decided that a knife was too bloody? And they responded back with, yes, I do remember her saying that. Do you ever remember her making a statement that she decided a gun was too noisy? And they said, no, we don't remember her ever saying that. Do you remember her saying something to the fact that as a nurse, I thought about drugs, but I don't know, but I know medication can fail. I remember her saying that in relation to her suicide attempts. And do you remember her saying, after thinking about my options, I felt that drowning them would be the best way to end their lives? And he said, sure, okay. Then he asks it again because he didn't hear. I don't remember her ever saying that after thinking about my options. That I don't remember. But I do remember her saying something about drowning. Yes, I do. So, and then we give the jury a 10-minute break, please, it says. So, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we could go on for this for hours and this and that. But anyways, I just, They bring up a yeah. Hey, oh, we got Mister Lucy McGee hands here.
Loosey goosey.
So,
Goosey the little too loosey.
anyways, this just brings up a lot of good points on why I wanted to cover this, because, like we were saying, you always pay attention to signs like that, because I learned more about this doing this case. Rusty talks to Yates by phone, text, and visits her once a year. Recently has encouraged her to seek release from the mental health facility.
She won't get out ever.
Yeah.
It's even if she tried, she's not going to get out of it at all.
You don't know that, but
so yeah,
shouldn't.
we just kind of wanted to dive in this one and do something a little bit different here. But we do appreciate you guys listening in now, almost an hour and a half.
One of our longer cases.
Hey, there's a lot to unpack here. But we do appreciate it, as always, for watching and listening in. And for you guys here on YouTube, thank you for showing up religiously every single week. And all the streamers that listen to us on the platforms, thank you again. We do appreciate it. Other than that, we will post sometime throughout the week who we're going to cover next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Other than that, we hope everybody has the rest of a good Mother's Day weekend to the moms. Appreciate everything that you guys do. And has a good week next week. And I will let Classroom Jackie take us out of here for the night.
We jumped up to 1,420 followers on TikTok.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Anyways, same crime time, same crime place, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.